In a world that rushes, we pause. In a time full of noise, we choose meaning. Welcome to Cupful of Calm with Naila Qayyum, a quiet space for curious minds and thoughtful hearts. And now, it's time for another refreshing episode, a new journey steeped in insight, stirred with calm, and served with care. So settle in, let's begin. Agatha Christie was born in 1890 in Torquay, England. A quiet and imaginative child, she taught herself to read by age 5. Her father died when she was 11, which deeply affected her. Mostly educated at home, she later studied music in Paris, but gave up performing due to stage fright. During World War I, she served as a nurse and worked in a dispensary. There she gained knowledge of poisons, which became key to many of her mystery plots. In 1914, she married Archibald Christie. Her first detective novel, The Mysterious Affair at Styles, introduced Hercule Poirot and was published in 1920. Her writing career grew steadily, but in 1926, she vanished for 11 days after her husband revealed he was having an affair. She was later found in a hotel under a false name claiming memory loss. The event made headlines, but she never spoke of it again. Christie later divorced Archie and married archaeologist Max Mallowan in 1930. She traveled with him on digs in the Middle East, using those settings in books like Murder in Mesopotamia and Death on the Nile. Around this time, she also introduced Miss Marple, a clever elderly sleuth based on women from her childhood. Christie was a private person and disliked publicity. She wrote daily, kept detailed notebooks, and preferred a quiet life with family, gardening, and travel. By the late 1930s, she was Britain's top mystery writer. Her stories combined sharp logic, psychology, and human behavior, building the foundation of a legendary literary career. Agatha Christie's fame grew during the 1940s and 50s. She continued writing novels, plays, and short stories, gaining international success. Her detectives, Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple, became household names, and her books sold in millions across the world. One of her greatest achievements was the play The Mousetrap, first staged in 1952. It became the longest-running play in history, still performed today in London's West End. Christie often said she didn't expect it to last beyond a few months. She received many honors, including becoming a Dame of the British Empire in 1971. Despite her fame, she stayed humble and rarely gave interviews. She believed her work should speak for itself. Agatha was a disciplined writer. She wrote early in the morning, sometimes dictating stories, and always outlined her plots in notebooks. She created complex puzzles with motives, alibis, and unexpected twists that kept readers guessing. She and Max Mallowan had a long, stable marriage. Their travels inspired several of her most famous works. She enjoyed visiting archaeological sites, sketching ruins, and soaking up the culture of ancient lands. But she always returned to her typewriter. As she aged, she slowed down, but never fully stopped. Her final Poirot novel, Curtain, was written during World War II and locked away for years. It was published in 1975, shortly before her death. Poirot's death in that novel made headlines, the only fictional character to receive an obituary in the New York Times. Agatha Christie died on January 12, 1976, at age 85. She left behind 66 detective novels, 14 short story collections, and over a dozen plays. Her books continue to sell globally and inspire adaptations across film, television, and theater. Her legacy lives on. New generations of readers still turn to her books for clever plots, memorable characters, and the satisfaction of a well-solved mystery. She once said, "The best time for planning a book is while you're doing the dishes." With quiet determination, Agatha Christie created a world where logic, truth, and human nature meet, and the mystery always finds its solution. She didn't only write mysteries. Under the name Mary Westmacott, Agatha explored love, pain, and identity in deeply personal, novels she kept private for years. Even as the years ripened and silver strands crept quietly into her curls, Agatha Christie continued to weave mystery and wonder. But now, her fingers were dipped not just in ink, but in memory, in time, in the residue of empires and relics, crumbling and precious. Having married Max Mallowan, a man 15 years her junior, Agatha defied both gossip and convention. Their companionship was one of discovery. As he unearthed ancient worlds beneath the sun-scorched soil of Syria and Iraq, she documented his findings with a quiet enthusiasm. She mixed her own photographic chemicals. She cleaned centuries-old relics with face cream. And yet, the woman who wrote with such precision also battled forgetfulness in her later years. She would sometimes lose the thread of conversation or forget where a scene had been set. But her imagination always returned. In 1891, she became a dame commander of the British Empire. The girl who once sold stories for pennies now stood shoulder to shoulder with literary giants. Her tales had crossed oceans, been translated into over 100 languages. Her deep knowledge of poisons wasn't just for fiction. One of her plots helped doctors identify a real-life poisoning case decades later, proving how precise her storytelling truly was. Her mysterious 11-day disappearance remained a subject of speculation. Some believed it was triggered by emotional distress, others by temporary memory loss. She never clarified. That silence became part of her legend. Until her death in 1976, Christie kept writing, editing, thinking. Her final Hercule Poirot novel, Curtain, had been locked away in a vault, waiting to be released only after her death, so that even in leaving, she might orchestrate a final bow. She quietly departed, leaving behind not just books, but blueprints for curiosity, a map for every reader who dares to ask who done it, and more importantly, why. If this calm resonated with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And to stay tuned for more soulful segments, stories, and slow sips of thought, subscribe and tap the bell icon. Because here at Cupful of Calm, the quiet is never empty.